All right, tomorrow the U.S. Embassy officially relocates from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. The move comes amid high tension between Israel and Iran. More on the Iranian side in a minute. This, of course, marks the completion of a major campaign promise for the president and clearly a show of support for Israel by the administration. With that, let's bring in David Keyes, spokesman for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as we're less than 24 hours from the big celebration tomorrow. David, good to see you. Let's look beyond tomorrow. Big celebration planned by the Prime Minister and Israelis. Palestinians aren't going to be happy about it. They plan major protests. Let's look towards Tuesday and forward. How does this change things?
Well, it changes things in two fundamental ways. First of all, it restores the balance of truth to this region. It recognizes one of the most ancient and one of the most obvious truths that there ever was, and that is that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. It has been the capital of the Jewish people for 3,000 years, the capital of the state for 70 years. And it's high time that the rest of the world recognize it as well. It also, frankly, advances peace in a very major way, because peace cannot be built on a foundation of lies. Peace has to be built on a foundation of truth. And this is the first time in a very long time where where the truth is being said about Jerusalem, about Israel, about this region. And that's precisely why I think it's a wonderful step towards peace.
That is an analysis that I have not quite heard from, shall we say, the Palestinian side, who says that they're going to walk away essentially from the negotiating table and return. Some would call it violence, others would call it protests, whether it be in Gaza or on the West Bank. We know the IDF is ready for whatever comes this week, they say. Does them walking away really matter to your government?
Well, sure, it matters. It makes peace a lot harder to attain. But the Palestinian leadership, unfortunately, has walked away a long time ago. They've said no to every single one of our overtures to meet for negotiations. Instead, they're paying hundreds of millions of dollars to terrorists and murderers and the families of terrorists. To give you one example, Hakim Awad, who murdered almost an entire family, is being paid $2 million over the course of his lifetime. Well, imagine what $2 million could do if it went to peace instead of to terrorists. So it's not the first time that the Palestinians are saying no to us. We hope they say yes, because peace needs dialogue and discussion and compromise. But the Palestinians are saying no to all of that.
But David, if there are events that happened that your government pushed for, which was this move from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and now you're saying that because of this move, the Palestinians have done something that makes peace harder to come by. How can you have it both ways?
Well, it's not both ways. They actually said no to peace long before the embassy was moved to Jerusalem.
So how does it make peace
easier? I've been with the Prime Minister. Well, it makes peace easier because the rest of the world can finally say to the Palestinians, it's time to get real, that this is the capital of Israel, that it's not going anywhere, that it will be the capital of Israel. But so long as the world and the Palestinians entertained fantasies that maybe the capital is not in Jerusalem. I ask you, right behind me is the Knesset, the seat of government, and the Supreme Court, and the Prime Minister's office, and the Foreign Ministry, all here in Jerusalem. So it actually, for the very first time in a long time, tells the rest of the world this is exactly where the capital is, and it's time to get real.
I've stood where you are many times, and I appreciate you staying focused with the sounds of what is Sunday night in Jerusalem behind you. So by way of explanation to our viewers, move on now to the issue of Iran, who doesn't seem to want peace with anybody, be it the attack on Israel from Syria a couple of days ago, or them chanting death to America in the streets on Friday. Take a listen to the Secretary of State on Fox News Sunday earlier. Get your reaction.
I think Rouhani and Zarif need to explain why it's the case that while this agreement was in place, Iran continued its march across the Middle East.
How concerned is your country about what the Secretary just said, Iran's march across the Middle East, and what are you willing to do about it?
Well, Iran just shot 20 missiles into Israel. Iran has moved its army 1,000 miles westward. What on earth is it doing on Israel's border? Why is Iran there in the first place? And to get the answer to that question, you just have to listen to what their leadership says. And they're not just shouting death to Israel, they're also shouting death to America. And they've said over and over and over again, we will annihilate the state of Israel. Just a few days ago, the Prime Minister exposed over 100,000 secret files and documents from Iran's secret nuclear archive, which proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Iran had a comprehensive program to build a nuclear weapon. And the Iranian leadership was lying through its teeth. Just a few days ago, Zarif, the foreign minister, said, we never wanted to build a bomb, except for the fact that they had an entire methodically cataloged arsenal, archive, of nuclear weapons that prove the precise opposite.
David, this brings up an important point, and that is that reasonable people could agree there was not a lot of love lost between President Obama and your boss, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and there were some fundamental disagreements, especially about Iran's nuclear program. What is it like now to have an administration that is so supportive of Israel, so supportive of your actions against Iran, and in lockstep?
Well, let me just say that the relationship between the United States of America and Israel truly has never been stronger than it is today. And this is a profoundly important week, both the recognition of Jerusalem as the capital, the moving of the embassy, and the ending of the Iran nuclear deal, which put Iran on a path towards an arsenal of nuclear weapons. And had that deal been allowed to continue, Iran would have been well placed to have a massive amount of enriched uranium for one singular purpose: the destruction of Israel. And I know that America is such a strong ally of Israel, and frankly, it couldn't stand by and let that happen. And so there's been a tremendous convergence, not just of interests and of values, but of a way of seeing the Middle East today. Okay. And it's no doubt that Iran remains the biggest threat to peace in the entire Middle East. And it's important that the entire world and everybody who cares about peace and human rights and justice work to change the policies of this dangerous regime in Tehran.
Well, and noteworthy now in a change, there are so many Arab countries that agree with the sentiment that Iran now is the biggest threat to peace, whether it be the Saudis or some of the Gulf states as well. David Keyes on a Sunday night in Israel. We know you got a big day ahead of you tomorrow. Appreciate you being with us, sir. All the best.
Thank you very much for having me.